Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Torch Tales, Stories Behind the Hood. I'm your host, Frank Vargas, aka Traveling Frankie. And let's get right into it. Darrell Galloway with Xcel Strategies. And yes, of course, we're going to touch on what that is. But you know the deal. First, we're going to touch on who the person is, where they come from, and what are they doing for the welding industry. Darrell, thank you so much for allowing me to just spend some time with you and kind of get to know you and promote what you guys do for the community. So first, before I even ask about you, what is Xcel exactly?
We're a mentoring program that seeks to, our tagline is Fuel Young People with Purpose. We look to help get young people, typically ages 15 to 25, but that can vary, but to help get them aware of the opportunities in the skilled trades and help them not only with the hard skills and the job skills, but the soft skills that can help them succeed as they enter into the construction trades.
That's awesome. And now, how did you get into this? And first of all, where are you from?
Originally from extreme North Georgia, Fannin County, up around Blue Ridge.
Okay.
Father had been in carpentry, hardware store, different things like that. And
So you were exposed to the trade before?
All throughout my life, and my dad's basically was
see.
a jack of all trades.
Okay.
Eventually came down in the 60s too, and I'm aging myself there, but anyway, in the 60s too.
I didn't ask.
To take a job at Atlantic Steel Company, which is where Atlantic Station is now if you go down through Atlanta.
So when you said he came down, from where?
From Blue Ridge.
Okay, got it. I
So
see.
things were a little bit tied up there, and
Okay.
he could get a good paying job. Had me and my sister, older sister, and so he came down.
It's just the two of you, you and your sister? All right.
And my mom. And so as he was there for a number of years, and then there was a strike. And so as he was trying to figure out what to do, he started working for a paint company, to kind of fill in to.
And you were already around by this time?
I was still a young. Yeah, I was here, but I was very young. So
You were in this world. Yeah.
Eventually, he after the strike ended, he could go back, and he's like, you know what? I could make more money doing this than what I was. So
he had that spark.
He shifted over to working with painting and was a foreman, a superintendent the rest of his life in the company.
As you were growing up, organically, you were exposed to this, whether you liked it or not. Were you starting to help him out, work summers with him?
Oh,
or
yeah.
it was like, let's go?
Yeah, it was, I think, like 25 or 50 cents an hour to be a gopher on the weekends. Sometimes in the summer, it might be a day or two here.
You already
and there.
get a meal, you get lights, electricity, and your own room. What else you need?
Well, you were having a ball because, you're around all these adults and you're seeing the things that were going on, and you get to come over and, discover, I should not have stepped in that. That was caustic soda, and my shoes are now destroyed.
There you go.
But you learn some valuable lessons because occasionally it was, you know better than that.
So now, not only, because I remember when I was coaching baseball, I had my kids. So it kind of sucked for them because they had me at the field and then they had me at the house. And it was not a very win-win situation because every time we lost a game or something happened, not only did I run off on the field the whole ride home and then also at the table. So, sorry. So I can only imagine working with that, coming home, and, it's like most of that generation couldn't turn it off. So as you are helping that on the weekends and getting older and older, is that something that you saw, hey, I want to do or be around the same thing that Dad is doing?
Actually, it was kind of I was just one of those kids that, I was just, okay, this is fun for today. And then got into high school, and really it was 11th grade, the counselor called us in and said, okay, you're in 11th grade, you're going to be a senior next year, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know.
And he said, of us.
Yeah. And he said, you better figure it out. You don't have much time. And he's like, your grades are starting to slip. And I'm like, well, I kind of discovered girls, so I'm probably not studying as much.
Did you play sports?
A little bit, but not in school.
Gotcha.
It was through more associational things
Gotcha.
like that.
So 11th, girls, not knowing exactly what you want to do coming up next year, leaving high school. Did you actually figure out before you left high school?
Not really. I worked for a couple of, and actually had through Six Flags had a company that we carved redwood signs, and we would, during the off season, we would put signage outside of buildings and things, and do a lot of different, and was having a real good time with it, but it wasn't paying a lot. And so by this time, I was thinking about getting married, and my dad finally is like, okay, you want to be
So you are like early 20s right now?
late teens.
Okay.
I got married early, sorry.
Hey.
I got married when I was 20, but this was leading up to it. And so my dad's like, you can keep struggling along at that, or said, you can come to work as a painter and you'll be making, almost $12 an hour. And that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
Say
I'm
what
like,
again? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, let me try that out. And so
Okay.
I ended up staying in the, started industrial, ended up commercial field, moved into the office as an estimator project manager.
So now you are actually working full-time for your dad.
Well, industrial, I worked for him for a while.
Okay.
And I left working industrial, went into big roundabout curve, how I ended up in the job I have now. In the early 90s, there was a program called Ventures in Community Improvement that worked with high-risk youth in the city of Atlanta to get them into apprenticeship programs. And so it was a very successful program as far as the data points and things they wanted us to follow.
Gotcha.
But there was a lot of bureaucracy and politics involved with it, and so the program ended up being discontinued for lack of funding because it wasn't
organization
renewed up in DC and everything.
Yeah.
So, but I always said
that's all it takes.
I always said I loved working with these young people to get them into the trades.
But hold on. So when you were working in the trade yourself, like how did that transition went from painting, industrial, the office, and now that organization?
You're asking me to remember way back, but
of course I am. Yeah.
I believe there was kind of like a memo went out to through all the trades, and I can't remember if it was my dad or somebody, anyways, who knew me. They said, "Hey, you might be interested in applying for this," and so I ended up being one of that. We had plumber, electrician, carpenter, and painting. And I think we may have had one other trade that was involved, but it was 4 days a week in the field. They would work so many hours a week, and then we had one day in the classroom of classroom instruction, and then in the evenings the students would be working to finish their GED and do.
So the whole MO of that particular program back then, it was working at high schools or independent completely?
All these were kids that had dropped out of school. So a lot of them, some of them were 15, 16, already had kids and things like that.
Wow.
So
so was this actually a brick and mortar place? There was you guys just kind of moved around, and how was that?
It wasn't brick. It was based out of the North Georgia Building and Trades as far as where we were, and then the Private Industry Council of the City of Atlanta was involved, and that was where the students would go in the evenings to work on the GED stuff. And then we did have rented some offices that we turned into some classrooms at a building close to what is now State Farm Arena. I think back then it was the Omni International and everything. So only the older people who end up watching this will understand. They go, I know that place. But anyway, Atlanta is always changing. But we would come in for, like I said, classroom time. And it was very rewarding in a lot of ways, though.
Really?
And I just said, if I could ever get into that again without all the bureaucracy and the red tape and everything, because I could tell you long stories about.
Sometimes the help, it's not about the actual help. It's just
it's just there's some people who, if it's not written down in black and white, they're just they're like, okay. Yes,
it's
I know.
Blinders,
I know you have a line item for vehicles, but we have no line item for gas. And I'm like, well, where do you want us to park them then? Because they don't run without gas. I'm sorry, that's just the nature of the beast. And finally, they're like, oh, okay, we'll put in, But
I never thought of that.
Who knew?
Well, I'm just glad to hear that it's not just on some areas. It's like everywhere that these things happen. Now, so. For those reasons, that came to pass. And did you find yourself in a gap looking for the next thing, or it kind of went like, oh, this ends and boom, right next? Because you said Xcel started like right around there?
No, the Xcel was afterwards. It was looked, and this was before CEFCA, which is now called Construction Ready, got started. They were talking about it, but it wasn't formed.
Okay.
And so I had an opportunity to go from out of the field into project management and estimating with some companies. So for the next, I would say, 20-some years, I worked in the office and worked with some very good companies around metro area. Last one was Specialty Finishes, which was all over we were in Texas and we were in Oklahoma, we were in Virginia and places like that. So had a lot of.
So you were still in the trade but not really mentoring or not
No,
really.
no.
Gotcha.
And then so left specialty and started kind of freelancing a little bit, do estimating, and in some case somebody was a small company trying to grow. I would give project management help with them and everything.
Gotcha.
And so this kind of ended up just the way the trade was going. I kind of just got burnt out, and me and a client separated ways, and I'm sitting there thinking about what do I want to do.
Yeah.
And so my wife's just kind of tired of seeing me sit around the house, and so she's like,
I don't blame her. It's been 5 minutes. I can't
Oh, I
wait.
know.
I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
kidding.
just kidding. Please, let's get this over with. But she said, I met this guy. I said, he's kind of a nut. I think you'll like him. He's,
Wow. What a pedigree.
She knows me. So
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, y'all think a lot alike. You're weird. But she said he runs the welding program at Chattahoochee Tech, the technical college near us. And so I go over there and meet him. And so I ended up enrolling. I'd always been interested in welding from back in
Gotcha.
industrial
So what
time.
year is this?
2018.
So prior to that, good with tools, good with all the other trades, but nothing welding related yet.
Other than just always fascinated with it.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't fascinated with fire, right?
Well, and I just remember back in the day, I mean, I always had watched the boilermakers, pipe fitters come in when we'd do a shutdown at the industrial plant, and just, you'd see the sparks flying everywhere, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And they'd come, we'd always borrow welding rods because everybody'd lose their pot hook for a paint thing, and they'd give us a welding rod, and we'd bend it and make it into a paint hook, pot hook for the bucket. And so it always had an interest, and then when we were doing the turbine blasting and everything, they'd bring in what that day was like, the heliarc welders is what they called it, which is TIG welding now. But I was like, that's so quiet. How are they doing that? And they'd sit there and you'd say, don't look at that glare.
I know, don't look at the blue light.
Yeah, don't look at it. But those were even back then, they were making the really, really big bucks and everything.
Yeah, it is.
The talent
So this is 2018. You go to the school, you have the conversation. And you said that you enrolled, or what happened?
Yeah, I enrolled and ended up graduating. But my instructor, he was telling us, he said, this group called Xcel, they had a welding competition down in Savannah, and he said it's going to come up here to Dallas this year. And he said, you need to be involved. I go, I'll go and support. And he goes, no, you're going to be part of a team. And I'm like, that's stupid. My age, what am I going to do? And he's like, you're going to get with some of these younger guys, and you're going to run a team. And so we did, and we planned, and son of a gun, we won first place, and which was real exciting. But that introduced me to Jay Thompson, who's the founder and CEO of Xcel.
Okay.
And he's got you should interview him at some point. He's got a very interesting story.
You heard that, so yes, please. I'll put in a good word. Yeah.
But long story, but his background and everything that happened with him led him to feel called to create Xcel for young people who didn't have a nuclear family to support and encourage them. And he realized as a youth pastor for a number of years that there were a lot of young people who just did not have anybody to encourage them, especially if they were not on college track. And which it's slowly changing, but still the majority of schools still are just trying to push college.
Correct.
And so you've got a large portion where some schools it's the majority,
it's
some
not for
schools
everyone.
it's
It's
a
not for
large
everyone.
minority, but they're still not going to college.
Yeah.
And we've got this great demand for skilled trades.
For sure.
And,
always have, and I think it's coming back, and it's not like it never left to begin with, because I mean construction, you see things being built everywhere, right? So it never left. It just most people had a disconnect with it. They didn't understood that. Yeah, how do you think that happened? How do you think that was made? It's just kind of behind the story, and we don't pay much attention to it. In 2018, so they said, hey, you should be working with them at whatever level that meant. So here comes COVID, and in 2018, 2019, 2020. You actually joined. They had a position for you. I
didn't start with Xcel until January 21.
Okay.
Well, let me think. Actually, it was later than that. But anyway, I started doing some stuff kind of just really as a volunteer.
Okay.
COVID messed everything up for everybody.
Of course.
And so Jay called me up and he said, look, I just don't have the bandwidth right now to keep the welding competition going in North Georgia. Would you mind kind of heading that up? So I started working and it'd been in the spring, and I'm like, I can't do it in the spring, but let me work towards doing that in the fall. And
so this was a, sorry guys, you guys know I interrupt my guests, but I always come back. It's okay.
No problem.
So they always had a welding competition on Xcel. Oh, this is a division that was born after many years, and then they just kind of lost track or lost, traction with whatever happened?
Let me think. I think actually, let's see, what is this? Is this a Monday? Or is it Tuesday? I can't keep track.
He's asking me like I should know. I've been on the road for a week. I don't know. It's Monday.
It's Monday. That's right.
Yeah.
So I think it was actually 4 years ago this week that everything shut down. So that was like the weekend after we had just
everything. You meaning Xcel? Everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, COVID shut everything down.
Correct, of course.
And so, the Saturday before everything shut down was when we had the competition, when we won and so
we want to celebrate. We can't. Yeah.
For the next many months, everything. And so I'm still doing a little bit of stuff. I go ahead and buy a small cheap welder online, and so I'm doing some stuff, continuing on with that, and doing a little painting here, doing a few welding projects for folks and everything. Then sometime in I think it was early 21, Jay's like, "Do you think we can do something in the spring?" And I'm like, "I don't know enough right now," but I said, "Let me start working on it and let's see what we can do." And so finally got a thing set up and got sponsors and had a very successful in the fall of 21. And from that, Jay's like, "Okay," he said, "I wanted to see if you knew how to raise funds and things because we're a 501c3 and everything." And so
it was a test.
And so he said, "At the start of 2022, why don't you come on full time?" And so that was kind of how we all got started. And and COVID also forced us to use what we call our mobile training unit, which is a portable classroom because we had no place to go and meet. So he's like, "Okay, let's make a classroom that we can take to wherever the students are, so we can meet in the parking lot wherever the road took us."
Makes sense.
So that was an awesome time, and so it just kind of fruition. I start and looking at all that they're doing, and I'm like, okay, all the things I really enjoyed back in the 90s with that federal program, but no bureaucracy overhead, no red tape and everything.
Which
and I'm just
pretty much means without all the BS. That's pretty much what we're saying.
That's right.
Now, so you are running the welding program, but Xcel does other programs, or
we will trade. The only trade we really haven't worked with yet, and it's just not that we wouldn't, but it's masonry just because of the weight of it, and then what do you do with a wall after you build it and everything. But we pretty much train in electrical, HVAC, plumbing, welding, fabrication. We're getting into virtual design, working with, we've got a Port City Logistics down in Savannah has a virtual forklift operator trainer. We're trying to expand. I just found a connection with some simulators that can do dump truck, front end loader, backhoe, just about everything you can think of, and even some forestry and emergency vehicle capacity. So we're looking about putting that on a trailer to where we can take it around and hit the road to be able to train with that. Could do CDL training. So
that's amazing. And tell me any one of the programs, but specifically welding. So I'm a 15-year-old, 16, whatever, and somehow someone says, "Hey, you're out of school. It looks like you're lost." And they say, "Check Xcel." What does it take for me to join? What does it take for someone to? Is there like some rules, some guidelines, for you to be able to join, and like how does that work? That whole process.
We do a kind of we have like, I hate to say applicant. We got a form they fill out just so we can look and everything. But basically, we take about, like I said, if they fall into our pretty much our normal demographic, which is 15 to 25-year-olds. Basically.
So I'm out.
Yeah. Well, not like that. That's not a fast written rule, but that's basically we're trying to get high school students, get them ready to go out, and we're kind of called tip of the spear. We're exposing them because in most cases, some of them, if you show them a hammer, they can tell you what a hammer is. Some of them are kind of like, you hit things with that? I'm not sure. So we just kind of expose them to the trades. We look to see where the light bulb comes off.
Which one of the ones is the one that...
you really like electrical. So let's help you get into either the technical school, into an apprenticeship program, or some of our supporting companies are like, you find us somebody that can do X, whether it's they can put the receptacle in and tighten it up and put it in the wall, or they can do a switch, or whatever it is. They say, you find us somebody that's got these skills, we'll take it from here, and we've got our own training program.
Gotcha.
So it's either into a job, into further education through a technical college or private, or into an apprenticeship program. We got some excellent apprenticeship programs around here.
Is there a cost to the student?
Most of the time, no.
Okay.
I would say that we do
Depending
some.
on which one of the trades, I'm guessing?
Most of it, we do some summer skills camps, which are open even to middle schoolers, and we've just found out that during the summer, because you've got a 2-month summer now, which I would never have survived if I was a kid. I needed that full 3 months, just to be honest. I don't know what, but it's like if we ask them to sign up, used to not charge them anything, and then when it came day of, and we kind of have to limit the size of the class for what we can do, and then half of them don't show up because Bobby's having a pool party with pizza.
So pretty much, it's almost like a way of show me some commitment.
Yeah, they can put a little bit, at least have the parents or somebody put some skin in the game, so they're kind of like, I don't care what Bobby's doing with the pool party, you're going to this.
Yeah, I already paid whatever.
I paid $25 to get you registered.
No, that makes total sense.
Most of the time, it's no cost to the student, and even in a lot of cases, if we're coming into the schools, it's no cost to the school system. In some cases, with the school systems, like they get a grant that'll allow them to do this training, and we can come in and help, then the school may pay us to come in as part of their grant programming and everything. But most of our funding comes from
that was going to be my next
corporations
question,
or individuals, or we've got insurance companies, because they're like, if we find somebody that's starting, they learn the trades and everything. Eventually, they're going to start a business. They're going to need somebody to get insurance from. So that they're kind of
exposure to the brand. Yeah.
Exposure to the brand. So and sometimes it's a restaurant, like if I can say the name Chick-fil-A. It doesn't necessarily buy me somebody like that. They're like, hey, we think it's great. But most of the time, most of our, it's like general contractors and subcontractor businesses that are like, we need workers. We want access to.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
So we want access to students, and so we provide them, access
for
to
the longevity of the trades. It's in everyone's favor to really support programs like this. Then don't complain if you can find workers 10, 15 years from now. What have you done to help?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So the welding competitions, because I know that you guys move around and do it pretty much all over Georgia. How does that work? How do you guys come up with, all right, we're going to do one here? Is it based on demographics? Is it based on trying to have as much exposure throughout the year? So how do you guys come up with that?
It's a little bit generic in a way. I mean, it's kind of like it started in South Georgia because that's where we started.
Okay.
And then I'm not really sure how Jay ended up coming. I think mainly he decided to come to Dallas because Chat Tech was coming down to and bringing several teams. And he's like, what, if there's that much interest up there, maybe we could start doing it. So they'd run a couple before I came on board.
Okay.
But we this past year up here in North Georgia, we had the one in Dallas. We had our first fabrication competition in Cartersville, where we gave them a set of plans. They had the raw materials there. They had to cut it and to lengthen everything and start putting it together. And they had like a 4 or 5 hour window to construct it.
Cool. So this one, you said it was the first fabrication one. So the other ones, how were they based? What was the approach on the other ones?
The one we do in Dallas is what we call the Xcel project. And so we give them, and it's been, for the most part, having something to do with fire and cooking. I don't know why. It's just kind of the way it's been. Seemed like a lot of welders like anything to do with food, and if you can build something and put a fire in it. So we did rocket stoves. We've done fire pits. We've done smokers. Not sure what we're going to do this coming year and everything, but it's been more of we present them a project, then we give them a 2-week window to build it. And then they bring that in, and while it's being judged, they go around to what we call our individual skills challenges, and it may be a best bead flat, maybe a vertical T-bar with 70-18 on one side, 60-10 on the other.
Gotcha. So you're checking for other.
And so that way they can show what they can do as a team. Teams are usually 3 to 4 people. And so then they can also show what they can do individually as an individual. Because in some cases, maybe great guys and gals, we have gals involved too, which truthfully have been some of the best welders I've seen.
Everybody says the same thing all the time,
But
because we know it all, we guys,
that's right. maybe you had a great group of guys, but maybe they really sucked at their project.
Yeah, and there's
So
a product manager. There's one that excels.
and so you can show what you can do as an individual,
Yeah.
and and sometimes it works both ways. I mean, we've had a team that just won first place, and they wiped up. We had one guy who was coming through Georgia Trade School. Not trying to throw out names, but
hey, you do whatever.
I think if he'd had time to hit every single one of the skills challenges, he won almost. He wiped us out. He took almost everything home. It was amazing, and I still follow him on Facebook, and I mean he's doing great.
What kind of about how many people do you actually get to participate in every one of the competitions?
Usually it varies, and the last couple of years it's been a little bit down, but I think it's because there's more events going on around.
That is
so
true.
It kind of helps.
Things are picking up more since COVID, so everyone's trying to have something. Yeah.
I think we had the one I did in 21. I think we had 15 teams, and we've had right around 8 to 12 for the last 2 years. So I mean, it's not down greatly, but it's been a little bit smaller.
And what kind of prizes do you guys have? Like, what are they winning?
We have some. It depends on how we. Last year we didn't have the cash prizes as much as what because Northern Tool stepped in and they're giving them these just buckets full of stuff. So every team member gets this massive bucket full of things. First place is a lot, second place is a little less, and third place is still pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then we have. Y'all contributed some stuff. We had some torches and some different things from Uniwell to give away. And I know Cedartown High School participated for the first time last year. And Matt Hayden, who runs a fantastic project, that's another person you should interview at some point.
I'm loving all these leagues. That's you're going to get the $100 bill after the whole thing.
Or go to Fannin County, Terry Flowers. I mean, there's
3 so far. Yeah.
And there's a young gal. She's going to graduate this year. His name is I will not remember her last name, but her name is Emmeline. Yeah. And I guarantee you that gal's going places. She was the only girl out of Georgia invited to go to Texas for the Women in Welding event in Texas this past year.
Well, Emmeline, if you see this, and like Darrell says, you are going places, I hope one of the places you go is Torch Tales. So please watch and let me know.
But where was I going?
So that it's a regular conversation, guys. That's what happens. So we were touching on what they get and the people and so on and how you have some companies help.
Matt Hayden, anyway, he estimated his team probably walked away with about $5,000 worth of prizes, and a couple of them, some of the individual skills challenges, the guys maybe were given $100, $200 for the win. So it can vary.
That's pretty cool.
Some years, depending on the level of sponsorship I get, we've had up to a $2,000 cash prize as well.
Wow.
It just all depends on who comes to the table,
of course,
what we can offer.
What do you guys get to give out? Yeah.
Because again, I mean, we're a 501c3, so it's not like I'm sitting on a pile of cash already. So it depends on how much support I get.
No, I totally get it. Now, Xcel, how many direct employees do you guys have? Like how many? And first of all, do you guys have offices throughout, or you mobile?
We have no overhead basically, other than that we've got a small headquarters, which I will not. Anyway, we have a small headquarters. I know it's not a lot. I'm not sure. It may be donated. Jay, don't hit me if that's wrong. But in where we're founded in the Savannah area.
Okay.
We've got
I might be in Savannah in the next couple of days. Just saying.
We have a South Regional Director, which is Nick Schultz. He also works with Bryan County. We've got Cornelius Lloyd, who is over Chatham County. And we have David Humpus, who is Effingham County, and he's been working into Bryan County and some of the other areas. I may have had that wrong. Let me think. No, Bullitt County. Okay. Nick Schultz works with Bryan County, which is where, oh my gosh, Bryan is blowing up because that's where all the Hyundai, SKS stuff and everything is going.
Yeah.
Interesting, the Savannah JDL report. They said that if they don't do anything at all with their labor force down there, they're going to be maxed out by the end of next year. At 25, their labor force is going to be depleted because they're going to have no more workers so
they're either
serious
retiring
about
or
retiring,
or
and then the demand on everything coming up is like the port getting dredged and increasing volume
so
there.
much,
The Hyundai plant, the SKS battery plant, all the residual support things that are coming in for that.
There you go, guys. I mean, if you guys are going to be looking for jobs, and maybe that's an area you guys want to check out because there's no people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they called out our Xcel program as saying this program has to be maximized to help train people.
Wow.
So we were real proud of that.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing that you guys are giving so much back and trying to put people back to work and get them off the streets and all that stuff.
The current state, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, the current state of the demand for skilled labor, there's no reason for anybody to be walking around saying, I can't. I mean, you're going to be a victor if you if you know how to get up, show up, and speak up. You can find a job.
What a concept, huh? It's actually very easy.
Yeah, it's not that hard. It's just you happen to want to. If you got to want to, you can go anywhere. I mean, the American dream is still alive and well. I mean, you can say this is a challenge.
I just got goosebumps because I'm an immigrant, and that's the only way I see it. That's the only way I've been here 35 years, and I don't know anything else other than you work hard, you show up, you do what you say you're going to do, and things happen for you.
That's it. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter anything really else. Yeah. If you just know how to work and give somebody a good day's work, they are going to keep you working. And if the job plays out, there's some other place you can go to.
That is so true. Now, you're still married, right?
Yes.
You are married. You having any kids?
Four grown kids and
grandkids.
9 grandkids, counting one that's on the way.
Really? Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Do they all live in Georgia?
Most of them do, but one lives up in extreme far Pennsylvania. So,
really?
But it's beautiful up there, and I understand why they're there. But I hate the trip because there's no quick way to get there. If you fly, you're still 2 hours away, and you got to pay for the rental car. So we usually just drive the 14 hours up there and everything. But it's a beautiful place. I understand why they're there.
Yeah, it's part of I handle everything east of the Mississippi, so I find myself in PA and in Seven Springs and all that area. It's beautiful, but yeah, it takes a commute. It definitely does. And I love where I'm at in Fort Lauderdale, so it's all good.
That's a good place to be able to come.
Shorts and sandals. I mean, come on, it doesn't get any better than that. Now, how many kids do you guys normally go through? Is it semester? Is it per year? Is it quarter? Like, how does that work?
We kind of try to tag in with the school year.
Okay.
And our real goal is we try to get in with the local school systems, as many schools as we can. So we kind of pace ourselves to kind of have, as we work with each year through the students through the school year. But we also do monthly workshops that'll highlight usually like one particular skill. Like, okay, this Saturday we're going to be talking about carpentry, and we're going to build a cornhole board, or we're going to build a picnic table. And but one time they actually in South Georgia they built what they call squirrel picnic tables, which I didn't know was a thing.
Me neither. I didn't even know what that is.
Apparently it's something, at least down in that area, a lot of people do. So it's a little small picnic table. They say it looks like a picnic table for a squirrel. And one of the kids actually took it home, put a bunch of peanuts on it. He has a picture of a squirrel. Actually looks like he's sitting at the picnic table eating the peanuts and everything, which is hilarious.
Who am I to judge anything?
But we'll do some kind of project like that, or it may be plumbing, and we're going to teach them this is how you set a toilet. And in a lot of cases, it's even if you're not planning to go into the trades, it's just good knowledge.
Of course,
to have.
it is.
I've told the kids, I'm like, if your mom has a toilet that's doing this and you can make it do that, you're going to be her hero.
That's a great explanation, and I love the visual. Get it? Who's not going to understand that? So how does that work? You guys go to a school and say, hey, we're Xcel, and we have a program that we can help you with kids that maybe are a little off?
Well, I mean, truthfully, our alternative school is one of our sweet spots because those students have kind of proven they're not fitting into the normal school model.
Yeah.
But I mean, we work with public school, private school, alternative schools, any organization, whether it be a Boys and Girls Club, a Rotary Club, any church, synagogue, anybody that's got a group of young people that there's some kids who are interested in the trades, or at least learning about the trades. And even for those that are going to college, I tell them, you better hope there's somebody who knows how to do the trades, because otherwise, who's going to build your office building? Who's going to build your equipment? Who's going to pave the roads to get people to go there? Who's going to build the vehicles that either you need or the people are going to need to get to you? Yeah. So everybody's reliant on the trades.
Of course.
The trades are interrelated, on everything. The welders have to build the equipment that runs the pavers, the dump trucks and everything, and then we've got to have somebody who knows how to wire them to where everything works. So it's all interconnected, and we need each other.
It is so true. There's no construction that goes up that doesn't need a little bit of all of that you guys are promoting and teaching and getting that next generation to buy into the trade. When is the next anything happening?
Hopefully, I'm still waiting on a couple more sponsors.
Okay.
But we're planning to have a fabrication event in April. April's Weld Month, or something like that. And so we're hoping to have a fabrication event in Cartersville on April 26th.
Okay.
We'll also be, we've got this actually next Friday on the 15th, or Friday week, not this coming Friday.
Gotcha.
Or is it this? No, it is this Friday.
Okay.
Good golly. Time's flying.
Again, we don't know if it's Monday. We don't know if it's when Friday. We're in good shape, guys. We're in
you
good
can
shape.
edit this a little bit, can't you?
No, I won't. Yeah.
But on the 15th, we're taking our mobile training unit here that just got fitted out. Advantage Fire put a sprinkler pipe system on it to show both PVC, which this shows how long I've been out of the field. I did not know there was such a thing as a PVC sprinkler system, but they can do black pipe, the hard pipe, and then the PVC system. Has it just looks like a standpipe coming out of the floor of the trailer with the valves and everything, and then it goes up and it tees off, and they've got 2 tees that are black pipe, 2 tees that are PVC, and they've got the sprinkler heads and everything. So they're going to be first time that we've
where is that going to be at?
And that'll be at Newton at Indian Creek Middle School in Newton County.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's open to the public, but if it is, you can come by and or anybody can come by and check
So
that
how
out.
many trailers you guys have now going on?
Up here we just have the one trailer right now. We're working to get a simulator trailer going. Anybody that's interested in that,
simulator
get in touch with me.
Of what?
For forklift, all heavy equipment,
Gotcha.
CDL driver. Like I said, we found this may have been before we started taping, I don't remember, we found a source for a simulator that does everything from agricultural through heavy equipment all the way over to emergency vehicles. It's just one of the most awesome things I've seen.
Wow.
And very, very current. And the size of it is very good to be able to put on a mobile trailer and everything. But that, and then we're looking to add a fabrication trailer that teaches everything from design all the way to being able to complete out some kind of small project. Again, we're not looking to try to be a big shop. We're introductory, and so give them a taste of what it takes.
Correct.
Help them to
so
learn
they can look for the next stepping stone,
how to cut the pieces, and then start assembling it and everything, so that we can identify those who have a bend towards being a fabricator. Because we're finding out from a lot of the companies we work with, they're like, I can find a good welder, but I put a set of plans in front of them and they just don't know what to do with it. So,
no, it's part of the problem. It's part of the problem.
And so, like I said, we work with young people, but we're also here in, I know it's kind of an old cliched term now because it's been used for many years, but we look at win-win. It's like we help our supporters, we help them find a better trained student, and we help the students find a good connection with companies that are needing them.
I think anything and everything in life could always be a win-win. Every time you close a deal, every time you do a business transaction, that whole mentality of, oh, I won, you lost, that you won that one, but not the future. So win-win. We both come out with a great feeling out of it. So what's your exact title with Xcel?
I'm the North Georgia Director, which basically is everything from a little bit above Macon north.
Okay.
So
Got it.
Right now I'm based out of my home county, Paulding County, but we're looking to expand over onto the east side around Hall County, Barrow County, Forsyth, Gwinnett, and that area, get something going over there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have an event with, real excited about this, with Summers Done, Work Done's charity foundation that he set up. Shouldn't say charity, but his foundation. That's going to be in West End area of Atlanta on the 13th of April.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be, they work on sustainable housing as well as training. So we're really excited to see how that turns out.
How does one can volunteer, if there's such a thing, help Xcel? Like, how, do you guys?
Get in. We're always needing, we're always looking to increase our pipeline of students. That's one thing. And so, like I said, that's through schools, wherever anybody that's got a group, a lot of homeschool groups and everything. Like I said, just wherever we can find a group of kids, young people. In some cases, and also we're reaching out to veterans. A lot of times they leave high school and they do a tour, and they may not, it didn't turn out how they wanted it to, so they come in and they're in their early 20s, but they still don't really know what they're going to do to be able to make a living, and so we'll work with them. I will be up in on the 19th. That'll be next week. We'll be up in Cartersville with the 11th District Congressional. They're doing a trade expo that'll be for high schools in the area in the morning, but it'll be veterans in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
So working with them, but we, if a company or an individual, just contact me. Look us up at xceltoday.com. Look for North Georgia Director and get my contact information, and get with me. I mean, we do background checks because we're dealing with young people, so we have to do our due diligence to make sure that we're protecting everybody.
Of course.
But if we're always needing people to help us mentor the kids. If somebody's an accountant, if somebody's a health expert, because I mean what we teach them on the soft skills is time management, money management, health management, and relationship management, because those are kind of the key things.
Regardless of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, and those carry over.
You can use your hands, but you got to use your brain.
And it's just like, hey, the time changed this past weekend, which is I'm still dragging from that. But if and I was a good example. We watched a movie Saturday night. It was a horrible movie on, and we're like, we got to watch something to get that garbage out of our head. So we watched a second one, and we got through it. I'm looking, all of a sudden look at the clock, and I'm like, it is not really 12 o'clock. It actually is 1 o'clock in the morning now, so I need to go to bed because I've got to get up at 6, so it's going to be a short night.
No, it's, I get it. It's kind of like, you put in one thing and then you got to push that one out. So it's like almost a drawer. You got to, open space so you can put more things in. That's how I treat the brain, right? For every garbage content I put in, I make up something else. Do you see yourself doing, let me rephrase that. Let me change all that. How rewarding is what you do now?
It's one of the best things I've ever done. I really enjoy it. I don't know how long Jay will want to put up with me, but hopefully I'll be doing this at least at some capacity for the rest of my life. May at some point have to slow down or hand over the main reins to somebody else, but I hope I continue being able to mentor and help young people kind of find their niche in life and everything. My grandfather used to, and he was very old school, but I mean, he used to, instead of asking somebody, what's your job, he would say, what's your calling? And I think if we got back more towards that, maybe not say those same words, but we find somebody kind of find where their bend is, where they can find the most joy in doing something, I think we'll see a lot happier people, and we'll see a lot better mental attitude of everybody, less trouble because they're doing things they find joy out of instead of just trying to earn a buck.
That's so true. I had the honor and the pleasure of talking to a mutual friend of ours, Rachel Lee, Rachel Graham, earlier today, and she shared that she used to be just an okay student when she didn't know what she wanted to do, when she was just going through the flow, and when she found welding, she found her niche and she found her passion, and her grades just went just like that. And now she couldn't put a book down. All she wanted to do was keep learning. So I think most of us that sometimes we are okay or just not as good as we can be is because we haven't found the passion in something. And once you do, it automatically, your brain's just like, okay, I'm in. This is it. And so find what you love, because that's I'm glad that in this second stage of your life, you found something that definitely connects with you, that you feel that it's so rewarding, and that you actually are making a change and trying to pay it forward. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's right. You can look back and have a drink, have a cigar, whatever, sit at your house and go, it was a good day, and it was a good week, it was a good month. Is there anything else that you would like to share about Xcel, yourself, whatever?
I guess the biggest thing is if somebody out there who's interested or like, I need workers, we're not tied into brick and mortar. We can put platforms on our trailers and take it wherever the road takes us. So we can get with you, kind of like the sprinkler system.
Gotcha.
I don't know if anybody else that has one on there, but I was talking with them and said, what do you need? And they're like, well, if we know people that can, thread this pipe and do this. He said, that's our basic need. And I'm like, well, let's put something on the trailer.
Wow.
We have, HVAC. There are a couple of them that we worked with. They're like, if we just have some people that can be able to put a thermostat on the wall for us to get started with and everything, we can take it from there.
Yeah.
So we've got a, thing where they run the wires and they turn the thermostat on and flip a switch and, make sure it's complete, connected the right way. Plumbing. What we can set up a platform. So if anybody's needing help, contact me. We'll figure out a way to make a platform. And I think I mentioned earlier, the only thing we haven't really worked with yet is masonry. We'll figure out a way to do that. I mean, just whatever, because every trade needs help. And nobody is doing the hands-on like we are. There's a lot of good organizations out there, but nobody's doing the hands-on day-to-day like we are. And we can help provide a better trained worker for you.
Wow.
And you can get in and you get involved, and if you help us, then you'll get first choice out of the best of the best.
Well, there you go, guys. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. And I think for most of us out there that complain about this generation, about where they are now, what are you doing? Are you helping, or are you just complaining? It just falls down to that. So I hope that you guys learned something from this episode, and definitely look at Xcel as an option to find that next trade, to find that next set of hands, because people like Darrell, Xcel themselves, are trying to pay it forward and give you what you are complaining about. So stop complaining, do something, help them help you. It doesn't get any easier than that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Darrell. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And guys, you know how this works. I'll be somewhere else with somebody else some other day, because that's what we do. Thank you, guys. Take care.